Yo, what's good, recovery family? It's Dan with We Do Recover, just coming back at you. Just wanted to post a little video here. Recently, I've had a couple people, and one person in particular, reach out to me via text message. Basically saying that although been sober for a few years, she's struggling. Trying not to relapse, trying to figure out ways to cope with stress. So it kind of made me start thinking. Actually, about a article for my blog I wrote a few years ago on self-sabotage. Self-sabotage is a real thing. Happens to addicts and happens to, normal people as well. So it's not just an addiction thing, but it tends to be a little bit more rampant in the addiction community. It seems like addicts only get so far before they have to, fall back into like a negative thought or a negative pattern. We put our drink or our drug of choice down. We start to, get things accomplished in life. Although there's, little annoyances here and there, for the most part, our life is going in an upward direction, right? We stop drinking, we stop using drugs, we're starting to get our brains feeling a little bit more normal, especially at the first few weeks of pause. Right, if you want to know what pause is, check out my video. I'll teach you all about it. But some setbacks occur, but mainly life, does go in an upward direction, right? But somehow addicts always have a way of doing very well until they reach a certain threshold. And then all of a sudden, self-doubt starts to creep in, and also just, again, self-sabotage. You don't feel like you're worth it, and you kind of get a little bit paranoid even. It's such a common occurrence. It's discussed quite frequently in the recovery community. Normal people, as I quote, normal people, always think that we're going to relapse or we're going to do something stupid after like a really bad day at work, or your battery died in your car, or, something happened that kind of turned your your day upside down, right? So, that's when most normal people think that we're going to go ahead and stop at the bar after work and just down a few shots, or stop by the corner on your way home and grab a couple, packets of dope. But honestly, and that does happen, but honestly, it happens more when good things happen. For example, again, back to work. Say you got a promotion, right? You come home, you're all happy. I got promoted. Oh my God, I'm doing it. I'm doing good. And then you're like, hey, let's have a few drinks. It's okay. Let's celebrate. Before you know it, you jeopardize your health. You jeopardize your well-being. You can even jeopardize that promotion, for example. It seems like when something good's about to happen, or when we're celebrating an achievement, we have to trip on our own pants, legs, right? We kind of fall over on ourselves. We can't ever get to that ultimate threshold, right? It doesn't feel like it, at least. It's interesting to me that, people do tend to relapse more after good things happen. It's quite an interesting theory, and thought behind that. Because, again, typically you get stressed out and you relapse, which happens again, like I said, but it just seems to happen more and more when people are happy and are celebrating good things in their life. They F it up. A good example of that, actually, is a show that's pretty famous right now. Shameless is the name of the show. It's been around for years. It's actually been off the air for a couple of years now. But it sticks out in my head. It was one of my favorite shows I watched, but it sticks out in my head, like one of the later seasons, when the kids are all grown up. There's a professor at the one kid's college, and he's a drunk, but he's a drunk that has a job. But anyway, the point is that he goes pretty crazy one night and actually ends up crashing into somebody's house. So in the story, or in the show, they have him go to court, but the judge is like, I think, like an old friend or something, or there's some relation there. So the judge is going to be like extremely lenient on the guy, maybe give him like ARD or probation or something. All he had to do was just show up in court sober, say I'm sorry, and I'll work on my sobriety, and bang, that's it. Back home, right? So what does he do? He goes to the courthouse, and while he's waiting for 9 o'clock to come, or whenever his court case was, he goes in the men's room, downs like a fifth, comes out of the men's room, and is wasted as hell. Goes into the courtroom, judge looks at him, you're done, bro. Sends him to jail. He ends up dying in jail from alcohol withdrawal. So, but the moral of all that is to show you that, like, literally something good's about to happen to the guy. He's about to get a very lenient sentence. He's about to be able to go home, go to work the next day, all that normal shit. But instead, he really sabotages himself. That is literally self sabotage. That was a movie, right? In real life, I did jot down a good example of in real life. I had a buddy who was in and out of the system, rehab, jail, all that. Pretty chronic opiate user. But anyway, he got himself clean. He was clean for quite a while. Was starting to rebuild his life, got his job back, was dating a nice girl, whatnot. And out of the blue, obviously something happened to him. But out of the blue for us, he just went on a meth binge, right? Meth, not heroin, not opiates, not the stuff he normally does, but he went on a meth binge for like three and a half days, something like that. And he ended up crashing into a pole. So right now, as well, from what I know, he did a bid in county. He's probably out by now, but he did a bid in county jail. So he self-sabotaged himself. He was doing good. He was staying sober. He had a job. He had a girlfriend. Bang. A meth binge. Not even like his drug of choice. A meth binge. And that pushed him back. Everything he accomplished up to that point, gone. He jeopardized everything. And that's what happens all too often in real life. So, he grabbed the world by the balls, and the demon kept calling. The demon called. And when the demon calls, sometimes we try to fight the demon, but if you don't have the right tools or resources, it's hard to fight that demon, man. Self-doubt starts creeping in, and you use again. So, you might ask yourself, like, what's up with my brain? Like, why is it doing this? Why is it? And I don't know if you ever asked yourself this, but I have. Why is it that when I'm about to make changes in my life, they're for the better? I always tend to doubt myself, and sometimes I just give up without trying. My YouTube channel, for example, and the blog I had before this, for the most part, I was getting positive reviews, nothing like horrible, but it's almost like I found myself doubting my ability to put up good videos, and I was almost like scared of success more than I was a failure. Failure I can live with, right? I've been doing the whole failure thing my whole life. School failure, healthy relationship with a girl failure. Just everything in my lot was a failure, right? But a lot of my failures actually came from not trying. For example, high school, freshman, was going to play football. I didn't fail because I tried and I wasn't good enough. No, I failed because I didn't even show up for the workout. I just was just too nervous, and I doubted myself too much. And I was like, I'm not a football player at a high school level. Like, wow, I can't do that. I'm Dan. Like, I'm not that special. So I just gave up. There's even a couple of promotions when I was moving up in the business world, that I could have taken, but I decided not to because I was like, I'm not leadership material. I'm not a supervisor. I'm not a manager, right? I can't do that. That's way too much stress, and that's way too much responsibility. So I self-sabotaged myself. I didn't even go to like the interviews. I didn't even try, and that bothers me, Thankfully now I have a good job, and I do lead a team now, but thank God for that second chance. I may never had a second chance to lead a team, to help supervise, to help make employees work life better. There would have been too many what ifs, right? So I'm glad I got that second chance, but not everybody does. I always tend to focus on the negatives and the what ifs, and instead of just going for it. Sometimes you just got to go for it, regardless of the outcome. At least you tried, right? I would rather be sitting here telling you that I tried out for the high school football team and got my ass kicked and was an absolute failure, right? At least then I could have said I tried. But anyway, so, I've learned from Celebrate Recovery, from other outlets, that I'm not alone with this, and that obviously makes me feel better, and it should make everybody watching this video feel better. You're obviously watching this video because self-sabotage interests you in some way, right? Either you're going through it yourself, you see it in somebody else, or it's just an interesting topic for you. So you're not alone. There's so many of us, it's not even funny. So there's no need to rush with your life. Don't overwhelm yourself. When you're in sobriety, when you're in early recovery, you gotta remember, or hell, fuck early recovery. When you're just in recovery, period, you've got to remember one step at a time, one thing at a time. Don't overwhelm yourself, because overwhelmingness turns into stress. stress turns into relapse, right? So, and another thing that I noticed and that really works for me is I don't get too high, pun intended, and I don't get too low. I just try to keep a certain level of like stability, like just okay, good, good things happen today, good, or I had a flat tire, but it's still good. It's still good. Okay, okay. So it's like you don't get yourself, oh, this damn tire, this fucking car, blah, blah. And then you don't get yourself too high by being like, hey, what a great day. I got a great review at work, or, I did this or that. Keep yourself level, and it will help you a lot when it comes to dealing with positive or negative stressors, right? Because that's what we're talking about here in this 10-minute video is positive and negative stressors. It can lead to that. But anyway, like I said, this is a 10-minute video, so I'm gonna shut up now. But we just remembered it's okay to leave our comfort zone. And if we do succeed, try to take that in stride. And again, don't get too high with that, right? We recover not only from the toxins in our body, but we're also recovering mentally and physically, right? So our bodies maybe losing weight, maybe, just getting some more mental clarity, all that comes back. Keep the positive, and I can't talk tonight. Keep the positivity flowing, and you're gonna be okay. Take the good with the bad. Keep the life stable, and you'll be okay. And by discussing topics like this, guys, don't forget we're changing lives. Even if 25 people watch this video, that's 25 people that may now have an outlet, or may now be able to come and comment on my video if they're stressed out, right? They have somewhere to go, some resource to use now. So I'm not in this for the numbers, obviously. I'm not in this for the money, obviously. I'm just in this to help out as much as I can, be a part of this recovery community. Because again, a gentleman named Ryan Donnelly lived in New Jersey. He's my hero. I've talked about him probably thousands of times. He saved my life, and I promised I would pay it forward. Unfortunately, he's passed away now, non-drug related stuff. But I'm still pushing his message and my message and everybody who is in recovery's message, which simply is one day at a time. You will succeed. Guys, self-sabotage is everywhere. We all do it. Let's learn not to, and let's learn to keep our life balanced, and to always take it one thing and one day and 1 hour at a time. I love you all. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. The more followers I get, the more people I can hopefully help, right? That's the ultimate goal here, guys. Never give up. We do recover. Much love as always, your boy Dan.